The word plumbing actually comes from the ancient Latin word for lead, plumbum. Lead pipes have been used for more than 2,000 years, going back to the Roman Empire, where lead was commonly used for plumbing pipes due to its malleability, or its softness and flexibility. This made it relatively easy to transport and install compared to the less robust materials of the time, such as clay. Despite scientists' concern about the safety of lead pipes, which dated back to the earliest days of lead plumbing, the convenience and lack of suitable alternatives made lead pipes the leading material for potable water distribution systems for almost 2 millennia. It wasn't until the early 20th century that alternate materials became available and started to displace toxic lead pipes. In fact, many communities around the United States, such as Flint, Michigan, still have an abundance of lead pipes in their infrastructure. An estimated 6.5 million lead pipes are still in service in the United States today. As indoor plumbing became more popular in the modern era, galvanized pipes emerged as an alternative to lead. After being introduced in the early 1800s, galvanized pipe rose to dominate the American plumbing market by the turn of the 20th century, and continued in use until the 1960s. Galvanized pipes consisted of steel pipes coated with a zinc galvanic coating, but they were known to fail when the zinc coating would erode, allowing the steel pipes to corrode, rust, and leak. They were also prone to water contamination issues, including lead leaching out of the galvanic coating and water discoloration caused by steel corrosion. When galvanized pipes fell out of favor, they were largely replaced by copper pipes. Copper plumbing actually dates back farther than lead, but it was extremely rare in the general population until the 20th century due to the rarity of copper as a mineral and the difficult processing involved. In the modern world, copper pipes gained popularity rapidly in the mid-20th century, quickly overtaking galvanized for indoor plumbing, as the failures began to mount in galvanized. By the 1960s, concerns about water quality and lead poisoning were becoming increasingly common, driving the market to copper as the only established alternative. But the dominance of copper pipes in residential construction didn't last, as high costs, labor-intensive installation, and corrosion issues drove the market to explore other materials. Copper is still used today, but it's used in less than 10% of residential new construction. In the second half of the 20th century, the plumbing industry began to explore non-metallic piping options to overcome the issue of corrosion. One of the first materials considered was CPVC, which was introduced in 1959. As the first new pipe material in the era of modern codes, it was forced to prove itself over several decades before achieving code approval across the U.S. CPVC quickly became popular in areas of the country with aggressive or corrosive water conditions that would cause metal pipes to fail rapidly. In addition, its fast solvent-welded joining method allowed plumbers to save significant amounts of time in their installations. Used in roughly 1/3 of American residences over the past 25 years, CPVC is a popular plumbing system used in the market today. About a decade after CPVC was introduced, polybutylene was brought into the United States from Europe, where it was promoted as flexible, freeze-resistant, and fast to install due to its mechanical connections. The innovative concept of a flexible pipe drew a lot of attention, and the material reached a peak of more than 20% market share less than 10 years after its introduction to the market. Polybutylene is part of the polyolefin family of plastics, which gives its properties such as flexibility. However, polyolefins are also susceptible to molecular degradation caused by chlorine in our drinking water. This degradation took about 10 to 15 years to emerge as widespread failures that resulted in 2 major class action lawsuits with nearly $2 billion, that's billion with a B, in settlements. Polybutylene was subsequently written out of the plumbing codes by 1996, having cost the industry a lot of money and a lot of time and headaches. As polybutylene was being removed from the U.S. market, PEX pipes were introduced as an alternate, flexible, mechanically joined polyolefin plastic piping system. In many respects, PEX picked up where polybutylene left off, rising to prominence during the housing boom and bust, reaching nearly 40% market share within 10 years of introduction to the U.S. market. Using a chemically cross-linked molecular structure and chlorine inhibitors to extend the life of the polyolefin material, PEX has been in the market for about 20 years now and is currently used in about 65% of American residences. Of all of these materials, copper, CPVC, and PEX are the only materials commonly used in new residential construction today.